I've had friends and family members tell me that they're having trouble finding a job in their dream career field. And when I ask them what opportunities they're looking at, a lot of the times they tell me that they're really only interested in opportunities that are within 30 minutes to an hour commute of where they currently live. And for me, I totally sympathize with that because we want to stay near our community, near our family and friends. But the truth is, the simple fact is, it's not the case that all the best jobs and all of our dream career fields are going to be within commuting distance. And honestly, a lot of the best jobs in our dream fields are going to be all over the world, all over, in our case, who live in the United States, the country. So the biggest piece of advice that I have for job seekers who are trying to get into their first job or pivot into a dream career is be willing to relocate. Imagine someone who lives in Nebraska and they love filmmaking, they want to get into filmmaking. Wouldn't it make sense for them to move to Los Angeles to be in the heart of the filmmaking scene as opposed to Nebraska, which, although I haven't lived in Nebraska, I imagine they don't have a strong filmmaking scene. Similarly, if someone really wants to get into tech and they live in Utah, wouldn't it make sense for them to move to Silicon Valley and be able to do some cool things there? If someone wants to do finance, for example, wouldn't it make sense for them to move from maybe Wisconsin to New York, where there's the heart of the finance scene? I'm illustrating these examples just to say, like, all the best opportunities are not going to be in the same area. For certain industries, they might be concentrated in one area, and for others, they might just be at big cities. So you might have to consider moving. For me, I moved recently from California to the Washington, D.C. area to pursue my dream career as a bioinformatics molecular biology researcher. I love my job. It's really cool. And it really was only possible because I was willing to move cross country. And it was a sacrifice. So I totally sympathize with people who don't want to move, because some of the sacrifices I had built very strong community in California. I love my California friends. I'm actually gonna continue to visit throughout the time that I'm here on the East Coast, my California friends, because yeah, I'm very strong, very tight, and I had done a lot there. So it was tough to leave. I totally sympathize with people who don't want to leave. And it can be even harder for people who have family obligations. Let's say their kids are going to school in an area, they don't want to take them out of school. I totally sympathize with all of those things. But I think it's worth stressing that sometimes to pursue your dream career, you do have to make those sacrifices. And again, career is not the biggest thing in life. There's so many other things that are actually more important, of course, than career. But at the same time, I remember talking with people, for example, at certain jobs where they talk about their dreams and they are like, oh, I really want to pursue this job, but I just have to work here. And then when I ask, why are you pursuing that job more earnestly? They're like, oh, well, like, it's not really a good time. I'm so busy with this job, and plus it's hard to move. Okay, cool. I hear you. It is hard to move. It's hard to do other things besides a full-time job. But it's never going to be easier to pursue our dreams in the future. It's not like as we get older, magically it becomes easier to pursue our dreams. Honestly, it's often the opposite. It's often harder as we get older. So really, yes, career isn't everything, but if you want to pursue a different career, your dream career, you might have to make some sacrifices, and one of those may be relocating. There are a ton of benefits to relocating too, because once you have the mental freedom to apply everywhere, your horizons get expanded a ton, because there's way more jobs outside of your immediate area once you start applying all over. There are just so many opportunities, and once you can even tell people in interviews, like, I am super motivated to relocate, and that actually says a lot about your willingness to pursue this career. I want to stress that there literally is never a perfect time to do this. For me, it's not like I had, gobs of money saved up ready for a big cross-country move. I actually paid a lot of my moving expenses on credit card, which I'm not saying that to recommend to people, but for me, I knew I would get income here through my job, and yes, I ended up in the first few months making income pay back those credit card expenses. So it's totally fine, but I'm just trying to say that to illustrate that if you're trying to wait until you have $20,000 in the bank and all your different commitments in order from one area to be able to relocate to the next area, you'll probably be waiting forever because the perfect time will never come. So sometimes you just have to be bold, make the move, do something. For me, the crazy thing was just spending stuff on credit card to be able to move. Ended up being totally fine. And literally, yeah, there's no perfect time. It's going to be hard. Even the move for me, it was actually okay. I was going to say it was tough. Honestly, it wasn't that tough. But there were some things that made it difficult. Like, I didn't drive the whole way I shipped my car. There were a few hiccups with that. But it ended up working out okay. And now I'm just doing pretty well. So, never a perfect time to relocate for a job. And it only gets harder over time if you delay it forever. I remember years ago I was working a retail job, and I remember chatting with some of my coworkers, and the truth is everyone has dreams, right? Like, and all of them were like, oh, I want to start my own business, or I really want to move to this area and start working in nursing, or I really want to do this. And every time I would ask people who have been at that job for a long time, they're like, oh, like, well, I'm busy right now, like it's not a good time. So totally sympathize, but there's never a perfect time. It only gets harder. Just do it and you won't regret it. And then another big takeaway is once you relocate for a job and you really get that quality experience after a year, two, ideally a little more than that, but even just 1 or 2 years, you don't have to stay in the area where you relocated to. You could always move back to the area you moved from if you really like it, or you can move anywhere else. You can even get a remote job once you have enough experience to show, oh, I know this industry, I can work remotely now. And then you can work anywhere, so which is super nice. So in my case, I like the DC area, although I would like to move back after a few years back into California or another area where my friends and family live. So we'll see how it turns out, but I'm really glad that I'm here now for sure. So being in the industry here, I don't think it really would have been possible at the level I'm doing it now if I hadn't moved. Those are some takeaways from my experience and my big advice to be willing to relocate to pursue your dreams. Hope this is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.